What's up, everybody? Man, being saying, aka Brandon. This is episode 65 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris and Deon. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Feeling on it, bruh.
Doing good.
We have a lot to get into tonight. We have episode 3 of Dungeon People and episode 16 of Shy. We'll get to both those episodes. But before we get into that, we're going to also talk about One Piece collabing with Lacoste or Lacoste. It's one of the main clothing brands for sporting stuff and stuff. We'll talk about that. Mainly in Japan, but kind of a Japan thing only. We're also going to talk about a show coming back that I think none of us expected to come back, and it got leaked out as an announcement. No Game, No Life, season 2 is going to be coming back to the anime world, and then we'll talk about a thing from Evo, the Evolution Championship Series. A special announcement came out there because there was the Guilty Gear Finals, Grand Final, or Top 6 tournament on Sunday. They announced that Cyberpunk's Lucy is going to be joining the roster for that game. I'm talking to both the gentlemen about that because I haven't seen Cyberpunk the show yet. I need to. That is on my list. I'm a Cyberpunk fan because I do play the game. We'll talk about how can Lucy be a part of that game, what her kind of style should be, kind of get into that. But first, I'm going to give you my brief summary of Suicide Squad episode 6. I will say I have Suicide Squad some credit because they are finally getting into the story of the show. And they have finally left all the DC stuff out.
Not completely.
Not completely, but they have got rid of a good portion of it. Because here's the big thing with this episode, and I'm not going to go through the whole episode. I can just give you little clip notes. The princess is more involved. The fact that Harley is kind of more understanding of the princess and what she's going through. And the fact that the queen is still not the greatest person in the world, and she just wants to see them go away. I appreciate the fact they're really kind of getting these characters from this world more of a play in the story. We saw the princess's backstory. We saw the fact the queen didn't like the fact she's hanging out with commoners. We saw the fact that she cares about the people. We saw the fact one of her good friends had passed away because of everything that happened, and some things that got her friend in trouble. I don't know. It's weird to say this, but I'm thinking this is going to be kind of sad to say. And I know both of you know about the scoff I'm about to say. I honestly believe this is one of the better crossover isekai stories I've seen in a long time. And I think it does it well enough to where I'm like, okay, you gave me a reason to care. Chris, am I off base? If I am, please try to explain why.
Okay, I wouldn't say that you're too far off base, but I do agree that Suicide Squad, is finding its anime touching feelings. It is getting into the tropes of anime. Will I still call it an anime? It has yet to prove itself 100% to me. But they have been making steps in the right direction, and it is something that I can continue to watch.
On that note, do you think the fact that they finally got the characters from who's in the actual isekai world more involved, does that help that? Or does that just make it where it's like, okay, now they're balancing out the fact that Harley and them don't understand this world, but the rest of the people that live do?
The only thing that kind of cuts me out of it, but kind of draws me in at the same time, is the fact that they are reusing the DC villains.
Yes.
I would have liked to see them take on an actual demon lord, and just for Harley Quinn to prove that she's actually more evil than the actual demon lord. I would have loved to see something like that.
But I think what saves that point is you have the queen. The queen is acting like their demon lord.
Because maybe so, but right now the queen just sounds like a big old bitch. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the point. That's the kind of the point you get with her. She's supposed to be that kind of character where she's not. Nobody likes her. Nobody needs to like her, but she's there because she's going to be the bad guy in all this. But like you say, they've added other characters like Enchantress. I think we're getting the guy that's the scientist dude with the helmet, the brainiac looking helmet. He's been a part of this.
So we got Killer Croc.
Killer Croc's
No.
in this, yeah. What were you gonna say?
I mean, so the fact that we got Killer Croc and Shark Dude, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised to see Killer Croc, but yeah, it's kind of messed up to make him face off against Shark Dude.
The shark guy, yeah, King Shark.
I mean, I can go and watch any Discovery Channel and see that. So
So Deon, from what you've heard me and Chris talk about, I know you're still probably not caught up fully, but what do you think about this episode 6 kind of thing we're talking about?
It sounds like it's a bunch of cop outs. It's a bunch of
fair.
very, very, very basic anime tropes just to keep it within this class. Like the only thing that's anime about this is the setting and the art style. And barely even the art style, because DC uses this type of art style very often in their animes or animations.
Yeah, fair.
What it really sounds like to me, bro, and let's be honest, it sounded like they was running out of ideas and was like, how can we redo something we've already done a million times? Oh, let's say it's an anime and make it a little fantasy. But if you got the same villains, you got the same people, like it's literally the first one all over again. It's Harley Quinn too, the show with less jokes.
yeah,
And they still put a lot of jokes in it. It seems like a mess, honestly. I'm embarrassed to call this an anime, especially in isekai, which is my favorite genre of anime.
Yeah, it's your favorite genre, so I'm not like I think the thing is, and I'm gonna say this with all sacrilegious to it too. It's babies for isekai, in the sense that it's a simple version of isekai that you can understand if you've never seen isekai before. At the same point, I would also agree there's also better isekais you can get people into, which will still get you the idea behind isekai. You're probably right, Neon. I think WB was like, we just want to throw something out there, see if it works. And it has worked for the most part. WB's probably made a good amount of money from it. Do I think we're going to get season 2? At this point, we're 6 episodes in. No. But I can't say that hard and fast, because I think there's a chance. There's like 5%. There's a 5% chance that actually does happen. If I had to give this a rating, I will have to give episode 6 like a 8. I think it does it better. There's still some DC things that I think kind of weird, but I don't think they haven't got rid of all the DC things they should get rid of. There's still a little bit of niggles in certain parts. Chris, what would you give Suicide Squad episode 6 for a rating?
man, this is gonna get a 5.3.
Explain.
I mean, I was excited for them to give us a little bit more story and give us a little, give us a little bit more about what's going on in the world that they live in. But for me, you automatically lost a lot of cool points when you reintroduced more DC villains. Because at this point, if our characters are living in a fantasy isekai world, they should be facing isekai-like monsters and villains and things like that. That's just my personal
Ding,
opinion.
ding, 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 ding. We have a winner.
There we go. And here's the thing. I don't disagree. I was okay with 2. I didn't mind Enchantress, and if the other one is Brainiac, like I think he is, but you don't think he is Brainiac. It is Brainiac.
Yeah.
I was okay with 2. I don't think you need to Killer Croc. Adding Killer Croc, it gives me the idea they're going to add the Joker somewhere down the road. Joker's coming into the story soon-ish. How? I don't know. Other problem is we haven't seen Amanda Waller's team or anything. What's going on that end? I kind of want to know what they think about all this happening. We have no idea what they thinking about what's going on, but I know why you don't show it. Usually, because you don't show it normally. I don't know. I think WB was hoping for a they were hoping for a 4-star, like a 5-star show. They've ended up maybe with like a 3.5, 4 for most people. And
Maybe
for
like
people
a 2.
yes, but
This
if
is
you
a
have
wash. This show is a wash. This is what I was afraid of with them doing this whole merger stuff. If this is trash, wait till we get Rick and Morty. Oh my god, it's
see,
gonna be.
see, here's the thing. I'm not worried about Rick and Morty because the thing about Rick and Morty, the one thing you have in the back pocket of Rick and Morty, you have the Rick and Morty creators. The people who made Rick and Morty. I'm actually wondering, did they actually ask people who've made the Harley Quinn show from WB to help with the season?
I mean, it's still WB essentially, though.
It is.
They have
But
every piece of information they need. I guarantee you.
correct.
They got the phone numbers of the original voice actors. They got phone numbers of the stylist, the artist, everything. It's not like this is from a completely different studio. It's the same studio, just a different branch. So
True.
this is just trash. There's no excusing it. It's
And
trash.
And then the fact that you're bringing in Rick and Morty, it was like, bro, I was already speaking against that from the beginning because of the very premise of the Rick and Morty show.
Yeah.
The premise, like he can literally use his portal gun to go into this so-called world that y'all are making for anime, and it can be the same show.
by the way, ladies and gentlemen, he's made that point 4 more times, and I can't disagree with it because he's right. And here's the sad thing about all this. I think we're in a weird state now because Whack Donald's, I didn't see Whack Donald's, but I know that was one that did pretty okay. We're getting Rick and Morty. This is Suicide Squad is doing okay for most people who are not DC fans or don't really follow DC enough to really understand what's going on.
See, Whack Donald's.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your point.
No, I'm gonna say I'm slightly worried now because we're getting Terminator and we're getting Tomb Raider. I'm looking forward to Tomb Raider. There's a problem. I am worried Tomb Raider is gonna be so terrible because they're gonna not do the thing I think they should be doing by having somebody who's played Laura Croft and go, you should play Laura Croft for the voice acting. And I've said this 100 times with Suicide Squad, which is kind of sad. You heard me say it, Chris, a bunch of times. This is better to watch in Japanese because the English is so out of place because it doesn't work as well because I think the Japanese actors do a better job of portraying the characters' reactions or mannerisms or emotions.
But not only that, but the fact that you're calling it an isekai, and how dare you come out with English episodes at all with the show being this close to
that. Because I have not watched anything in Japanese of this freaking show. I'm not gonna waste my time doing that.
Honestly, it's weird for me to say it, Deon, but honestly, I think the Japanese dub just is more fun. I don't think it's.
I'm not enjoying it as much.
I think it's because they had more time to do the Japanese and they found people just do the English dub. To be honest, I think the dub doesn't seem like it was really worked on at all.
I mean, let's be real though. These characters are characters that only one of them has an iconic voice.
Correct.
The rest of them can sound like whoever and whatever they want to.
Correct.
So we're looking at this in English because we have stuff like the Suicide Squad movie. And we're comparing it to other English dubs. But if you compare the Japanese dubs to other Japanese dubs of other anime,
oh, there's not the strongest Japanese dub. There's not the strongest Japanese dub.
It's very subpar.
Yeah.
I'll take Dragon Ball Z dub Japanese over this.
Oh,
but and that sucks. And I'm sorry, but fight me on that. Goku sounds like a 2-year-old. Like, fight me, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, me and Chris will keep watching this show. We'll watch it till the end. I think that's going to be the one thing we will do. We will watch to the end. We'll see where it ends up.
I'll probably catch up.
Yeah. I don't know if they need a season 2. Ultimately, if you choose one, you're gonna have to do some hard work to make people believe this is gonna be something you need to continue. And I think that's gonna be the downside with these licensed projects because they know they don't have to do as much work to make the license and print money, as they say. Because Tomb Raider is a popular series, Rick and Morty is a popular series. You have Terminator, which is a popular series. These series have had name value. Suicide Squad had name value, even though the movies weren't great. The name value was there. What do we do next? I don't know. We'll see. I want you to know your opinion in the comments, but let's get into this. One Piece X Lacrosse. So they are doing a collab where they're going to be making One Piece style of clothing. Seems like this is going to be kind of a like a one-off thing, kind of making style clothing for just like with One Piece like logos and things. There's not much other details. It's only in Japan. We do know that much. I'm gonna start off with Deon for this. Deon, what do you think about this collab and the fact that we're getting this like anime clothing collab? Or Chris, whoever want to start.
Well,
Oh,
okay,
my
bro.
bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Go ahead, Deon.
I'm just a talking away, mic on mute.
that happens.
But my bad. I'm not gonna take too much away from it because Lacoste is a popular brand. Even if you don't like wear it off, like it's still a name brand. The only thing is, I wish they was more like original in their designs. Like it's literally they're going to take the Lacoste emblem and do it in the One Piece art style. Like, and that's it. Like, there's not gonna be like a bunch of like Luffy themed shirts and stuff like that. Like, that would be cool. But they're just exchanging their logo for a One Piece stylized logo. Like, it's not gonna be too much. And then the clothes are gonna be stupid expensive. Stupid expensive because it is like a one-off thing. Like they're gonna be running it for a limited time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll still rather just get my One Piece stuff from like online shops where it's gonna be look twice as cool and be a third of the price. So it don't matter to me what they do with it. One Piece is life. So
Chris, I'll let you explain your thing before I'm gonna say my piece. Go ahead.
Okay, this is where I disagree with Deon because the logo and putting it in the One Piece style is fashionably brilliant. Because if all you're doing is changing your logo and putting it on the same shirts and stuff that you already sell, and then the part that I do agree on is that they're going to have stupid high prices.
yeah.
So business wise, it's brilliant. For the
Oh yeah,
consumer,
it's definitely good for Lacoste.
yes,
But it
because I
does
mean
nothing
changing
for
the logo.
One Piece fans.
Exactly.
My bad.
You know,
I completely cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
but that's what I'm saying though. But I'm making my point is that like being able to put if you change the logo enough with the One Piece style and put that on anything, bro, I would at least get a T-shirt if it wasn't more than $20.
I can look it up right now.
Okay,
The
so while you look
T-shirt
at it,
with just the logo is like $21.
I would go for that. I would
The
go for that.
T-shirt with the picture logo, because they're gonna do a Lacoste character. He's gonna look like he's gonna be a crocodile that looks like he was made in the One Piece world. And I think is this Nico Robin? Yeah, they got him like posing with Nico Robin in a One Piece setting. That shirt is $91.
But wait a minute though. Wait a minute. Even though that price is astronomical, and I wouldn't pay that, but somebody who actually did that art piece is getting paid, and I'm not mad at that.
No, I'm not mad. It is wondrous from a business side, but as a One Piece fan, it does nothing for me.
You're right, but I bet you it's going to be they're still going to make a lot of money from that shirt
Like,
too.
I would get all of this stuff if the prices were like they have a hat that looks pretty cool. It's got like One Piece across the logo, across the bib, the whatever you call it, the
brim.
beak. Yeah, the brim. I couldn't even think of it. And then their logo. Why is this hat like $100? I've never paid that much for a hat a day in my life. And I have a hat fetish, if that's the right word to use.
You're a hat connoisseur. So like you like wearing. Yeah, I get. Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody's ever seen me without a hat in my possession.
y'all both make good points. Here's the thing that kind of boggles my mind with this. I would be okay. I like the One Piece. Like you put the One Piece logo on some lacrosse stuff. Cool. I'll be down for that. I agree with Chris. The artist who makes this stuff is going to get paid. I agree with that. And actually, that's the upside of doing this. One, you're working with artists who make these art pieces for these shirts and things. Cool. Not going to complain. Can't complain about that. I just think the downside is for somebody who wants to collect them or have a collection of them, most people are gonna try to find this stuff and probably buy it. But if a normal person like myself, I wouldn't spend the kind of money you probably would think to buy that stuff. And yet, this is gonna be the caveat for me. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm wearing a Royal Rumble t-shirt right now from here in Texas when they came. I have a couple wrestling shirts in my thing. I spent for all the t-shirts I have from Royal Rumble, $120, but they average around $30, I think. $30-$40. So not that high.
Y'all want to see it here at Kicker?
Go ahead.
It's Oda. Who's getting paid from the art? Oda.
I hope you were joking, but you're not probably joking, sadly.
I'm looking at it right now. All credits go to Oda.
Oh, you're not joking.
Well, all right then. See?
Yeah.
So I mean it's not like he needs it, bro. Like this is so he might not even be taking that much. It may just be more publicity for him, bro.
Yeah. Or they could be putting that money into the new show.
That too.
But what? This would just be a drop in the bucket from everything else they're already getting to put into the new show. You know how profitable One Piece is?
Like, so much.
Just saying. Just saying.
I think, okay, here's the thing. Y'all both ain't wrong. I think it's just funny because we look at, nowadays for most people who look at clothes for anime, sports, wrestling, whatever, gaming, I can go down a list of things. It's in the eye of the beholder. It's into the person who cares about it. So ultimately, what's going to happen, and luckily this is only in Japan, not in the United States, you can tell, it's one of those things where people are going to be like, okay, is it worth it? Tell me. And for most One Piece fans, it's going to be worth it to them to get at least one or two things from that. For a person like Deon or Chris, no. But I think the other side of this thing is setting a precedent, what I think we'll see come down the road a little bit. We might see more collabs like this with other shows. Eventually, could be a thing. Because I highly have a hunch if Soul 11 pops off the way it has for the first season and like the second season does really well, I could ultimately see a cross between One Piece or Soul Leveling and something else. That could be a thing down the road. Not shocking at all. Because it's just the show is that popular and the IP is that popular.
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're still looking it up, so I'm sorry. You're looking it up, so
The,
you're seeing this live. You're seeing it live and we're doing this, so I get
the
it.
official One Piece memorabilia, which is fire. Like this stuff is fire. The hoodies, everything. There's nothing over $50.
Oh, okay. Well, but you also have lacrosse name. I'm not. That's the other thing. You have lacrosse in there. If you didn't have lacrosse in there, yeah, I see why this would probably be lower.
Yeah, but
Lacrosse
they're
is
not
very
like Ralph Lauren or something. Like, I mean, don't get me
no,
wrong, they're big. But
no, but if it's like we did this with Tommy Hilfiger, Tommy Hilfiger isn't that big, but it still has name value behind it. So that has the same property behind it. I, I,
I might get this Ace hoodie.
like.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying this is good or bad. I just think it's interesting because it's not something we've seen in anime a long time, where anime crosses over with other brand like clothing brands, things, fashion, and that kind of stuff. So I'll ask you both this, then we'll move on to the next topic. I'll start with Chris for this. Chris, do you think we see more of this down the road? And like I said with soul leveling, what show do you think it could happen with?
Oh man, dude, I think, bro. Okay, all the other big name shirt companies like Ralph Lauren, Polo, and whoever else I can't think of right now because I don't shop like that. Either way, all of them are going to be looking and seeing how much lacrosse had made from this. But also keep in mind that lacrosse has also put their logos on like bathroom stuff. I mean, lacrosse is a popular brand to do random things. So yes, I do think that other companies are going to catch on and try to recreate their own thing with other shows and companies, similar to the same things McDonald's is doing with JJK. So the question is how many of it, and will we get tired of it?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Okay. Deon, same question to you. Do you think we see more anime do this down the road? And what anime and what company do you think will do it next?
I mean, this isn't like a rare occasion. We've seen this happen a lot before with like Nike and Puma and companies like that. Um, do I see other animes doing it? I see other animes wanting to. I don't see all of them being able to because like look how
Mm,
big One Piece is to be able to do something like this. Like you got a few that could just jump in, like maybe JJK or something like that, but you gotta have the publicity on your own to be able to do a partnership like this. And of course, One Piece having their own Vegas premiere and stuff like that, like it helps for sure.
oh, it helped a bunch. It helped a bunch.
So like I don't know if a lot of anime can pull this off outside of the big three for sure. And then, you know, a couple of the other like Demon Slayer and JJK, but even those two, you might not get something like Nike or even Lacoste doing it. I mean, Lacoste is not a pop cultural type of brand. So that's what's surprising me. Like Lacoste is more golf course than it is anime
Yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe they're trying to reach out to the youth for this, but
Well, the other thing that kind of boggles my mind, and I wonder if Oda went through as much trouble as to draw a lacrosse character in the One Piece style, will we end up now? What are the odds of us seeing that character in the One Piece show?
I
Because
mean,
that
bro,
also, because
it looked like we might have already done it. Like this character, don't get me wrong, it's clearly a Oda piece. Like it's clearly dope, but he looks like something we already seen.
Mm-hmm.
interesting. You had
Yeah, like
you, sir, being the One Piece sir, I would need to see not only the picture of what he drew, but I need you to give me a good example in the episode.
Oh, I mean, shoot. So it's literally a humanoid croc, right? That's every episode of the Wano. That's every episode with Beast
The
King.
Beast
There's
Confused.
like
Okay.
most of the later episodes for sure. Like it's literally like he looked like uh what's
Okay, why don't you just somebody to send me a picture? How about that?
yeah, I'm using my phone as a let me see. Okay.
While he does that, we're gonna get to our next topic because I think Chris is really excited about this one. So according to some reputable sources, I know Otaku News talked about it. Some people on Facebook have talked about it. We are getting news from Aplex and what's the studio that's under them? Oh, Kantashi Studio. Oh, okay. Huh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Can you see that, Chris?
Yes.
That No Game No Life season 2 is officially confirmed, alongside some other things as well. I don't know. The other things we don't know fully confirmed yet, but the No Game No Life season 2 was fully confirmed. Chris, I'm starting with you for this. Why do you think they've announced the fact we're getting No Game No Life season 2 now?
Oh my god, bro. Firstly, thank you, Deon, for showing me the picture. I think that's gonna be dope. Now, Brandon, ask me this question again, and then I want you to think about what I'm about to say, because bro,
Okay. So why do you think they're putting out No Go No Life season 2 now?
so I take it you haven't seen No Game No Life.
I have seen all of No Game No Life. Here's the thing. What did we just watch from the spring season?
I know what you're getting at, but you have to understand, this is the predecessor for all of these game shows, and none of them have even, in my opinion, have come close. So the fact that they put out a season 2 means that they about to put their foot up somebody's, you know what?
Ah, yeah.
Okay, like bro, like this, for especially for us older anime watchers that know how epic this show was. Like man, this show was one of those B tier shows that changed everybody's perspective on other shows. Kind of like how Dungeon People did for Dion.
Okay. Okay.
So the epicness for that for me was everything that I wanted to hear. On top of the stuff that we got coming out in the fall.
Okay. Deon, I'm gonna let you go. Then I'll counter that, Chris, because I'm gonna be. I get where you're coming from, but I'm gonna counter that. Deon, why
you
now for season 2 of No
you
Game?
really want to know my answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the creator asked for it.
Huh? But okay.
He went on Twitter April 9th of this year and said, yo, let's do a season 2. It got backed by the fans. Of course, as much hype as No Game No Life already had, it got pushed. It was like, okay, let's do it.
Okay. I mean, that is a thing. That is actually a thing. That is a thing in gaming. That is a thing in movies. That is a thing. It just feels like, tell me, if you know there's hype behind it, uh, if the hype was already behind by fans, why didn't he try for it earlier? Because he could have probably got it earlier in a couple years ago, and probably would have stayed and got the same thing. And it's also the other thing that kind of boggles my mind is Aplex. And Apex has a lot of stuff under their banner right now. So does Katashi. I think it's the other group that's doing it alongside. Like,
Brenda, I would say the thing to remember about this is that from the time he put that tweet out, people have certain job types that track that and see how much generation and buzz it gets throughout social media.
fair.
And then once they get this data, they present it to people who have money. And they say, hey, you guys that have money, we can make y'all more money because look at how much fans want this show to come back. And the creators were already willing to do it because he said it on this tweet. So all we need is some startup money to pay for the people who want to do it. And in return, you get this much money back.
Okay, fair. I agree with everything. The other thing about this, and y'all both seen, I haven't seen that. I haven't watched no Game Life recently. It was a long time ago. But how are you gonna pick up that story and still make it make sense? Because that's the other thing. I'm kind of like, you're gonna try to pick up a story that's been out for so long and then try to make a season 2 off that, which you can. There has animes that have done it. Good example of that, the one we're watching right now, Fairy Tail, which has done it. They've been on hiatus for a bit, or not hiatus, but they've been off. They finished their final season. They came back. They're doing the 100 Years Quest. But also, you have things in the space already. You had the one we watched over the spring. You've had other things try to do the game style stuff.
Nothing like this though.
Nothing like this.
This isn't a land of its own.
I know no Game No Life has a different style to it. I get that. And it just kind of feels like I don't want everything to come. I see a trend where everything can come back from being finished now, officially, if they wanted to. And I'm gonna say this with all due respect to both of y'all. Once Demon Slayer ends, would you ever want to see 4 years down the road they go, oh, we want to bring back Demon Slayer. We get so much fan push for it, and the creator want to do it. If the creator said they want to do it, and then ultimately they want to bring it back, but no manga behind it, no thing, would y'all be cool with that?
Well, is it the same situation as this, where it's the original manga creator saying that he wants to do it? This is the original manga creator.
That's what I thought I heard him say.
Yeah, this isn't just the person who turned it into an anime. This is the original manga creator saying that he wants to.
In that case, I'm fine with that if the manga creator wants to say it. The only thing that's going to be kind of interesting is how they're going to adapt it back into an anime. Because then that had a finite conclusion.
I mean, there can always be another god. There can always be another world. There can always, because it was an isekai.
Yes, it was.
You can do that any type of way.
You can.
In that you already gave the perfect example was Fairy Tail.
I did.
Their third season is still named the last season, and yet here we are with a whole new show.
Bleach. Yeah. Bleach is doing it twice now.
Twice now with the
and Dragon Ball Z is still the king of doing it.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z has done it 7 times.
And still doing it.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm a skeptic.
Nora Kenshin is doing it.
I'm sorry if I'm skeptic, ladies and gentlemen. It's just funny to me because it seems like it was a show for the time period when it came out, and now trying to bring back into this era, this area, 2024 later on. Will it still have the same hitting as it did back then? If you have the fan base is older, so yes, it should. But it's also that thing of like the other example of that problem was Black Clover. Black Clover public school arc should never came back out. Only because I think Black Clover didn't do as well as Bleach or as Dragon Ball Z. I don't think they had the backing behind their fan base to watch it. Because also, if you look at the charts for that, it didn't do as well. I know you're gonna fight me, Deon. Go ahead. Go ahead.
First of all, we can't compare Black Clover to Bleach and Dragon Ball Z. It never had that much hype to begin with. But
Ever.
who said they didn't want Black Clover to come back? Everybody loves Black Clover and they're waiting for more.
And they already
Clover,
announced that it's going to be another season.
Well,
they wanted Black Clover from the first episode to never end.
Yes, but it's also look at the public school arc. The public school arc wasn't as
You mean Black Butler?
Black Butler. I said Clover. Black Butler. Dude.
Okay, all right.
Black Butler. I said the wrong name. Said the wrong name. Black Butler didn't do.
I was like, wait, hold on.
That was my fault. They have the same name. My brain didn't get the
Understandable, bro.
Okay, but it's the same thing. Black Butler didn't have as much hype. A lot of people had never even seen Black Butler, even though it existed. So when it came back, it was like an entirely new show to the masses that we have watching anime now. They didn't even know what it was. To tie 1 and 2 together.
Black Butler was more of a low key. It was always a good show, but it never really got a lot of hype.
Yeah, it's one of those if you know, you know type shows. Like I can make a kill.
Yeah,
or like Brady, or like you showed me, Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry because it's very niche. Yeah. It's very niche. It's not something people know about. I only know about it because I like the games. I know of the games, so yeah, I get that. It's just interesting because like No Game No Life. I don't think No Game No Life had that really niche audience because it's pretty well known. No Game No Life was on a lot of the stuff at the time when I started watching anime. It was around. You could find the show. The show's still around today. I'm just gonna be interested if you can keep that if that fan base really want it, will they come out and watch it? That's the thing I'm wondering. And if the case is that question, yes, then we're all good.
Forgive me, fan base, if I can speak for you all, if No Game No Life comes back out with anything, they can come out with a 2-episode arc. We're watching it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Not anything, but just to see what it's about.
Correct.
You know, we're watching Suicide Squad, Isekai. We better go watch No Game No Life.
Fair enough too. I'm more of the I'm not a skeptic. I'm more of the kind of like I just don't want to see all these older anime come back for a run unless like you said, the manga creator wanted to do it. I just don't want to see them revived by a studio. I don't want to see them revived by somebody without a real reason to revive them.
See, I'm in disagreement with you on that. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
A lot of the anime we're getting now is trash. It's like music. We're getting trash music. Everything this generation is putting out is trash. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some greats among the sprinkled in. It's the sprinkles on the garbage ice cream. There's some greats. But nobody is really embodying anime like the older animes have done. So if you can bring those back, like if you could, like bring back Inuyasha and tell me that that's not gonna be good.
I would love to see a continuation of Kami Got Killed. I would absolutely love it. Here's the thing, like the way they ended that Kami Got Killed, I could absolutely see the season 2. I could. The thing is, that's the other problem. It's like I would want it, but I also know if it does well enough, it could blow some of these other ones right now out of the water handily.
Or it could be trash, like Marvel movies.
Yeah, so it's like not wrong there. You're...
Okay.
Yep.
That was a low blow.
No, I didn't mind it at all.
Just because we want it doesn't necessarily mean we need it, but
that's fair. I'm just the one to be like, okay, I can see what y'all doing. I can see why it's necessary. Do I think the summer seasons have been great? No. But do I think there's a couple good hitters in here? Yes. 2G Seduction. I think Dungeon People's done really well. I think Ocean Code Season 2 is one of the higher hitters on this list because it's from the first season. Yeah, I know. I know. We're not gonna get into that. We're not getting into that. Deon's kind of traumatized because he's read the manga and all that stuff. Yeah, I know. I absolutely know.
I have kids, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I think Perry's doing fun things. But if you told me No Game No Life was coming out this summer, oh yeah, it absolutely blows out the water half the stuff. Like it's no question.
Yeah.
If you told me a Common Kill came back for season 2, it's gonna blow half the stuff out the water. Like, and that's the thing. I'm kind of like, we need new stuff, but the old stuff is still there, and I think that's going to be the hard thing. The new is trying to emulate the old.
We need a remake of Assassination's Classroom, and then we'll call it over.
Ooh.
Jeez. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a continuation of Kill or Kill.
Kill is the other one I thought about too. That was the one I thought about. Kill continuation. You could do
I saw that side eye, Deon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will say this: I'm still pretty young anime fan in the sense like I've only been watching for the last 5-6 years. In the sense that I have stuff that's Attack on Titan style because I have the videos for it. I have Devil May Cry video. I've seen all Kill la Kill. I've seen all No Game No Life. So I have some older things in there, but like when they show me a Comic Kill and stuff like that, that has the anime vibe to it so much. I think the thing is, if you're bringing back something like No Game No Life season 2, that's gonna have that old anime vibe, which people want. One thing we're watching, the Oni Adventurer from Crunchyroll, which is trying to do that same old anime vibe, isn't really hitting because the main character is the story is weird. It doesn't really work with everything around it. But they have like the old style, the way the characters looks, all that kind of stuff. If it works
what
out,
gives great anime features, that's a newer one that people sleep on. The New Gate.
Yeah, New Gate.
Yep.
I know New
Seen
Gate.
that?
I've seen part of New Gate. Yeah,
It was
New Gate.
kind of good.
Quickly becoming one of my favorite isekais.
I think the thing is, you can't, for anime nowadays, you have to do your own thing. You cannot replicate the past. It is hard to replicate the past in the sense the past and how animation was done, the way the style looks. You can't try to replicate that for older fans. You need to make something new. And I think that's going to be harder and harder as we get through the next couple of years because there's not going to be anything to go back to look for the past. You're going to have to make something all your own. So honestly, I'm happy for No Game No Life coming back. Chris is, Deon is. I think it will be good. I just think it's going to be with time to see trailers and think of what we're getting into. And if we get into
trash,
good,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I think
If
I
it's
think
trash,
a lot
it
of
is what it is.
it is what
been
it is.
polluted by the new
I'm
system.
still watching it.
still watching. It's going to be not,
But Brandon, I have a question for you though.
Okay.
You've been watching Fairy Tail from the beginning. It's your first time watching it. Now, you're technically watching it within this season of new stuff. Out of what shows is the old Fairy Tail currently beating for you?
Oni Adventurer. If I had to go,
it might be easier to pick which ones are beating Fairy Tail for you.
Well, the ones that are beating Fairy Tail, I think 2.5 Seduction's beating it. I think Dungeon People's gonna beat it. Can beat it a little bit. I ultimately think one that beats it for me. I think the Like It's Samurai beats it a little bit, just because the way they're doing that samurai story. Those are my top 3. Outside of that, the only one I can give you, the other one I would give it to you is the Demon Lord is a Human. I think that's pretty strong. Those are my 4. The rest of the stuff across what we watched don't really beat it in the sense of like that kind of storytelling because they can do jokes better, and they do.
How far are you?
You're gonna ask that question. I figured you're gonna ask that question. I'm on episode 13.
Oh, no, we talking to me in like 100 episodes or so.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm getting there. I am getting there, but it's taking some time. Getting there. I'm not rushing that. But yeah,
we still getting introduced to characters.
No, yeah. But here's the thing. It's the problem of watching an anime for the first time and seeing what older styles is like and seeing what it was like when it first came out. because I have the eyes of somebody who's never seen it, so I'm like, oh, I like the fact they do the character dialogue, the way the characters' clothing look, the way they try to mimic comedy, but the comedy in other shows don't hit. The comedy here hits. It's hard to believe that people still try to mimic those kind of styles today, and they can't do it. And it's just like, okay, you're trying, but you can't get that close. But we'll see down the road if even animes later in the next 4 or 5 years can even stay with that style, like trying to be funny, but also having a good deep story, but also having an emotional moment. You just want an anime that be fun. There's nothing really about trying to give both. You can't give everybody everything in a show. That's a lot of shows try to do nowadays. I think that's the only reason I think certain shows do better than others because they balance out both sides of the fan base.
They end up missing the mark trying to capture everything. They end up capturing nobody. Second season.
Wow, that's the second thing you buried, but the second one you buried actually makes sense to bury. Wow.
As you were saying that, I was thinking the same thing. He just said.
Yeah, he just said it. Fair enough. But let's get it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this. I think it is cool seeing it come back. I want to know, like Deon said, if it's not great, people will still watch it. So I still have the fan base behind it. If it's really good, it'll bring a whole new generation of people going back to watch the first season if you've never seen the first season. So fair enough. Let's get into this last topic, then we'll get into the charts. So you probably know this. I love fighting games. I love watching fighting games. The biggest fighting game tournament happened in Las Vegas this past weekend. Guilty Gear Strive is about to add a very cool guest character. We are getting Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunner. I still on my list to watch. Haven't watched Cyberpunk anime because I know it's like Chris and I think Deon even said it's kind of sad. I'm interested to see. I'm interested with two things. One, I'm asking the gentleman this first. One, what do you think about that announcement that we're getting her in Cyberpunk in Guilty Gear? And two, what do you think her playstyle will be? And I'll start off with Deon for that.
Ooh, her playstyle?
Mm-hmm.
She may be a. Oops, I got stuff playing. She may be a melee close melee range fighter.
Okay.
But with a few like possible projectile like supers or something. But her character base, if it's truly based off the Cyberpunk character, it's gonna be like a little ninja, a robot ninja.
Chris, same question to you. What do you think about her? So, what do you think about her inclusion in the game? But also, what do you think her playstyle will be?
Okay, I'm trying to remember who Lucy was. She was the one who dated who dated the main character, right?
Yeah, the girlfriend, the one that was being used.
Okay. It's really kind of weird because she really didn't do a lot of fighting in the show. She was mainly like a net runner, so her powers would mainly be something like maybe mind control or telekinesis, maybe. So
I'm gonna need you to go back and watch the show.
But I get where he's coming from.
Because I remember Rebecca going ham, but yeah.
I kind of get where you're saying.
You remember the ending more than you remember before she kind of. But yeah,
I get where you're coming from because it's gonna be kind of interesting. For context, let me give the context to people because if you don't know the context of Guilty Gear is more of your gunplay, sword fighting type fighting game. It's an anime fighter. That's what they're called. But interesting, every character has something unique about them. So, like Soul Bad Guy carries a giant like gun sword. It looks pretty big.
Well, yeah. Well, then with that context, she would probably be some kind of melee fighter.
And that's the interesting. I wonder if they're gonna do more melee with a gun kind of combining to her because that's kind of the way they could probably balance her out. It's actually kind of surprising. This is the first time I think something like Cyberpunk has collabed with something like a fighting game and putting a character in there. We haven't seen many other crossovers. Good example, Tekken added Noctis from Final Fantasy 14. We've got.
I mean, but she's essentially a video game character already.
She is a video game character already. It's an interesting thing because I think a lot of fans were taken aback at Evo when they showed on the final day stage, and it was like, oh, we're getting her. And like, if you've never seen Cyberpunk, you probably didn't know who she was, but if you've seen the people who cosplayed as the character, you know what the character looks like. So that's the other kind of dichotomy with this. And I'm also bringing this question up. I don't know if y'all
uses Kenpo as a fighting style.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Do you think this will sell more copies for anime fans because there's a character that most people do know and they just want to see her in action, just do cool, like people say, they want to see the character do cool things? Or is it going to be one of those things where they're hoping to get more anime fans involved in a game like Guilty Gear, which is the anime fighter, and this is just the first step, maybe adding another character down the road from another show or something? I'll start it for Chris for that.
Wait, say it one more time. My audio cut out.
Oh, no, you're good. So, do you think adding Lucy will bring more anime fans into the game? And if that's the case, do you think they try to add another character from another anime or another property that has anime ties to maybe help that along? Or is it just going to be like, if this doesn't really work as what they hope, it's not going to really bring anime fans in?
So, I've never really played the game, so it's really hard for me to say. I don't know how popular the game is. However,
It used to be.
okay, but as far as bringing in Cyberpunk, it's really hard for me to see who's getting the business take out of this because I know that Cyberpunk is getting ready to introduce their new game here in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, they are.
But I find it hard to believe that another game company is going to promote another game. So
It's happened in the past. It's very rare, but it has happened.
but it's with that mind that I don't think is going to do what they think what they're trying to do with it.
Okay. Do you kind of agree with that, Deon, or do you see something else different with that?
I feel like this is for gamers. Like, I feel like there's no hidden agenda here. I feel like it's kind of like the Soul Calibur approach, where this is for Guilty Gear fans who may also be a fan of Cyberpunk. Just like Soul Calibur adding Jin from Tekken to their game. Like, it's just like doing a nod to the other game while also trying to bring in some retention from another genre. I don't feel like it's too much trying to stretch into like the anime world, because I feel like the game is way bigger than the show was, the Cyberpunk game. And Guilty Gear on its own, I want to say the fan base is still there, like the diehards, but it's not big enough to give like the Cyberpunk a up on their peak. Like, I feel like they're neck and neck as is already. So to me, it's more like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Let's just make a good game with good characters. Who can we add? Oh, let's add Lucy. She seems cool. Because if they would have added the main guy, then it would be a little bit different. Might be stretching into trying to gain some popularity because more people know him than they do Lucy. I feel like this is like a if you know type situation. Like, this is for the gamers.
Okay. I don't, and I would agree with you on that as well. But I also think too, it's one of those rare times where a collab, because you brought up Soul Calibur, and actually it's funny, you brought up Soul Calibur, and you brought up a game that I actually remember this too. They added Geralt to Soul Calibur from The Witcher.
Yeah.
he is a playable character in Soul Calibur as himself with the swords, the magic, all that kind
With
of
the
stuff.
swords, Geralt, Jin, Yoda.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the Apprentice, when he came out with his game, they added
Correct.
him to Soul Calibur. Like,
So
Soul
they've
Calibur
added
does it all the time.
Soul Calibur does it all the time. Guilty Gear doesn't do it that often. They've done it one or two here and there in the past. Tekken's kind of known for it in the past.
Tekken's done it. Injustice has done it.
Yes, Injustice.
They've added,
Yep.
although that's the same realm with the Mortal Kombat characters, but they even added like the Ninja Turtles.
Correct. Correct.
So,
Correct.
Like this happens. It's for gamers.
But they always hope they can get the other side of the people who know of the character.
Yeah.
Like Ninja Turtles is a good example of that because everybody knows who Ninja Turtles are, and you see the Ninja Turtles play in Injustice, they're like, "Oh, I might try the game out for the Turtles."
Yeah,
I don't know if Lucy will have the same effect for them for Cyberpunk fans and for the show or the game, but I think it's a cool addition, just like to see her in that type of world where it's more knights and that kind of style stuff, which ultimately that was the probably announcement I thought was really kind of strong because it's like, okay, that's the first time we've seen something different that's not just another game. It's from something entirely outside the gaming realm for the most part, except for like Witcher's outside the gaming realm because the Witcher game outside of the show now, you can think back to that. So it's a back and forth. I want to talk about it because it was a really interesting thing coming out of Evo. It didn't pop the crowd as much as I think it would have normally because most of the crowd didn't know who she was. I think most of the crowd didn't know who she was, or some of them, good portion of the crowd did know, but it was just new. People are hyped for a new character coming to the game, first guest character in a while,
and they're bringing back some of the favorites too, like Dizzy and Venom.
Yeah, correct. So they're bringing back fan favorite characters alongside her. Well, it's gonna be fun to see where it goes, but I think it's also gonna be like, where do you take that from there? If you got another character on the road, if they end up adding the main guy from Cyberpunk, that'd be also kind of awesome to see both of them in the game eventually, in the same DLC or down another DLC. You could do that as well.
With them being a game first and an open world game as it is, the Cyberpunk game, I feel like they have so much room to grow more.
Mm-hmm.
But Soul Calibur itself, I feel like it's just kind of, it is what it is. Like, I don't feel like it's gonna get any bigger than what it is already.
Guilty Gear is pretty much on the same level as not at the same level, but it's higher. It's a higher level than Mortal Kombat 1 because Mortal Kombat's kind of fallen off for like the fighting game community, the hardcore fans, because it's just not something you play in tournament much anymore.
So,
but
cookie cutter now.
Yeah, it's like Guilty Gear at the same level where it's pretty cookie cutter, pretty the same thing, but they're adding new mechanics and things all the time. They've added a 3v3 mode too, so they're trying to add new things to the game to make it more fresh, but it's not gonna always be that way. Yeah, but let me know what y'all think in the comments about all three topics we just touched on because they're all kind of different realms as well. But now let's get into the charts. Before we do that, get up. Get up Dungeon People first tonight. We're gonna start off with that, and we're gonna end on Shy. Shy had a little more story built into the next episode. But we'll get into these charts real quick. So we have from Anime Corner Anime Corner week 3, July 12th through the 19th. Days with my stepsister is number 1. The girl who speaks her feelings in Russian is at 2, dropped a spot. Oshinoko went up a spot at 3. The Elusive Samurai went up 15 spots to 4. Wizard and Wands of Swords went up 4 spots. Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest dropped a spot. My Dear Friend Nuko dropped 4 spots to 7. Too Many Losers Heroes went in at 8, comes in at 8. Pseudo Harem dropped a spot to 9. And more a series of most Monsters season went up 20 spots to 10. Chris, what is your takeaway from this chart?
My guy, this chart is it started to do that thing where it started moving. We're starting to see it. Now, unlike other seasons, I don't really know where this one is going to end at. Like, because right now there are still a lot of sleepers that are still trying to show themselves, and then there are some shows that are just gonna die out. So I'm really just waiting to see what's gonna happen at this point, bro. Honestly, if I'm just being totally honest with this chart.
Oh, okay, okay. I can't disagree with that. Dion, same kind of thinking with this chart. What is your main takeaway from it?
Wisteria, and what was the other one? They're finally getting some good publicity. You said Elusive Samurai went up 15 spots.
15 spots.
Yes. Let's get some good anime in this mix. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the other ones are decently made, but like, let's get rid of some of these garbage ones.
Like, like honestly, I don't feel like too many losing heroines should even be in the top 10.
I don't know much about that show. Y'all probably know more about that than me.
And I haven't even bothered to watch Days with My Stepsister, honestly.
Yeah,
Same.
no.
I want to, but
the
I'm like,
title
no.
alone sounds like something I wouldn't want to watch. Like, what?
Now everything else on here, maybe. Like I know the Montagari series has a following, so but for it to jump 20 spots, is that am I reading that right?
Yeah. So it went from 30 to 10.
Yeah, see now that's come on now.
That's crazy.
So that means the Elusive Samurai went from 19 to 4. That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Which is,
Especially where the trash people were trying to say about it.
oh, I like that style. I think it's so cool that you're doing the old Japanese like
Yeah.
samurai like that colorful kind of like style with the
They were trying to eat it up on Reddit and Instagram. Like, they were trying to trash it so bad. But for it to be number 4, and this is only what, the second or third episode?
so this is week 3, so third episode, yeah.
Yeah, like, come on now. Let's give credit where credit is due.
But here's the thing that kind of boggles my mind with this list, and it's the one I think, and I really haven't watched it yet, and I'm going to eventually. My Dear. My Dear got pushed so much, and everybody says it's so fun, but yet it dropped 4 spots. But also on the flip side of that coin, do you notice this is still the same problem we're having where your top 3 are all dramas with Stepsister, Russian, and Oshinoko.
Oshinoko.
And on the other side of that coin, also Wisteria, I think should be in the top 4 because it's well made.
The story is very nice.
Well made, story is interesting. Ultimately, one of the ones I'll be like, okay, I would gladly watch. I would gladly tell somebody to go watch that. It's worth that.
You know what, W?
Go ahead.
I feel like people are so against stigmas, like, that they kind of self-destruct themselves. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, you only watch anime because it's action. You only watch anime because it is. And so they try to push the dramas and push the slice of life animes so they don't seem like they truly only enjoy the action animes and stuff. But why can't we get reality where if it's good, it's good? Like,
yeah, you're right. You're right. But I'll go down the list. I'll go from 11 to 11 to 20. So if you go from 11, Suicide Squad to 11, 2.5 D seductions at 12. No longer allowed in another world is at 13, which I heard is actually really interesting. Tower of God is at 14. How I become ordinary is at 15. Fatal Frame, which is me and Chris watched. Chris got me into that. That's well done. That should be higher. Is at 16. The Cafe Terrace at 17. Spice and Wolf is at 18. My Hero Academia is at 19, which doesn't surprise me. And the Magical Girl and the Evil Lieutenant using to be an alchemist is at 20. if you think about that list, think about the fact that my Suicide Squad is one space off from being the top 10.
And we just got done talking about how trash that anime is.
Correct. 2D or 2.5C deduction is at 12, which should be probably in the top 10. No Longer Alive in the World should probably be in the top 10. Tower of God is pretty. It's weird to me, and you brought up Deon. Why would people push up dramas and romance stuff more than fighting? Because people say you just watch anime for fighting, you just watch anime for action. It's kind of sad to say when there's good animes out there that have really interesting stories, and yet you're just pushing the ones that are actually. I mean, the couple dramas are decent. Ocean Go has a decent story behind it. I get the reason why Ocean should be up there. Jay's with my sister, even Rush, the stepsister. Russian is even okay. I think the Russian one's okay. I think the story behind that's interesting, but it also has a simple story behind it. Before we get to Dungeon People, Chris, give us the other chart. I want to see where this ends up.
Well, actually, we can skip that chart. That is the old chart.
Okay.
They have not posted the new chart,
New
or
chart.
or at least I can't find it yet. But yeah.
Can't find it. Okay. Do you have any, Chris and Deon? I'll ask Chris first. Do you have any last thoughts to see what do you think will end up at the? Where do you think this anime season will end up? Do you think what story hits the top 3? Do you think something like No Longer in Another World will even hit the top 10? What are your kind of predictions there?
Well, I think the shows that we see in the top maybe 12 might be interchangeably within the next few weeks. But as we get towards the last season, the shows like Failure Frame and Wistoria are going to slowly creep to the at least to kind of concrete that top 5 spot. That's what I'm thinking. Now I'm reserving the other 3 spots for whatever other shows that still haven't shown what they're going to be about yet this season.
Okay. Deon, same kind of thought there, or do you have a different thought with that?
If Elusive Samurai doesn't reach top 3 within the next 3 weeks, I'm fighting Anime Corner.
Okay. Yep. There we go.
No, I mean it's a decent storyline, beautiful art style. Like, why do you hate it so much? People hate it so much.
But it's also people. But like we talked about earlier at the beginning of this episode, and it's I'm throwing this back at y'all. With No Game No Life, people want the old stuff back, and this is where having new things don't really capture people's imagination.
Yeah.
So like, people want the old stuff, but you have some new stuff here that's actually working pretty well. Even though 2.5 Seduction is not like the deepest story, I think it's still fun. I think
People want the new stuff because they're tired of all these dramas.
Okay. By the way, I did find the new chart.
Okay. Go through real quick.
So number 1, they have Oshinoko. Too many losing heroines. 3, Russians. 4, Tower of God. 5, My Dear No-Katan. 6, the Montagari series. 7, Spice and Wolf. 8, Elusive Samurai. 9, Wistoria. And 10, Pseudo Hero.
So they just flipped it.
So it's like you say, it's like a pyramid. They flipped it upside down, and okay, I get them. Okay, I mean, I get Oshinoko. I'm fine with that one being in the top 3. I don't get why you have a story at 9, and you have
which those number.
My Stepsister is number 1, right?
Yes, on the Crunchyroll, on the Anime Corner one. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's number 12 on this list.
That's the other thing I thought. It's lower on the list because it's based on watchable. People watch it. Yeah. Which
are you two caught up on Wistoria?
Yes.
Yeah.
They just had one of the most beautiful action-based,
absolutely
episodes.
Here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to something I've said before. That action episode where he fights his teacher was more impactful than when MASH beat the boss with the chain connected to the metal ball.
Yes. Yep.
Even
But
more
that episode
impactful,
was like 2.
like even more impactful when MASH fought the guy with the cream puff to suffocate him. It doesn't make sense to me because Restoria is doing what MASH wanted to do, and Restoria is doing it better at across the board.
And it's only like episode 3.
Yes.
My voice got really high right there. That just shows how.
You're good. You're good. I'm gonna say this. I think if people are gonna be really nitpicky with things like that, because if a story is that low on the watch chart, that's people don't watch it all the way through, or they have and don't like where the story is headed.
Or they're
But-
not watching that. There's not enough people watching it to
Correct.
rate it.
Correct. But at the same point, when you have my stepsister on that flip side of that chart on the top end, more people watching that, and I'm gonna say this with all respect, I'm saying this with not even any like thing behind it. It's just like you cannot make a show for both genders. There's not gonna be a show both genders are gonna enjoy, but you're also not gonna make a show where you can also draw in both genders. Because you're trying to draw in both genders with my dear stepsister, you're trying to draw in mainly female fans and a little bit of male fans, but the male fans aren't going to watch it because it's not really their thing. Some will, some won't. It is hard to keep fans both of certain all the groups together and watch a show that they're all going to enjoy.
If Wisteria had more fanfare, it would be higher on the ratings.
Correct. Because I don't think it got much marketing. It didn't get much marketing for what it did. Very little marketing.
If it had some ogling bits, that's what I'll call those.
So
that
fan
people
service.
could, yeah, if they had more fan service,
Fan service.
it would be number 1 right now.
But okay, if that's
Which is
the case,
sad because
But if
now we
that's
can't
the-
watch anime because it's good.
but it's funny in that case. Then 2.5 seduction should be in the top for that. And I'll give you
Point.
another one. Plus size L should be on the top for that. Like
It's not that low.
it's not. It's not. but
let's be real.
it's not.
It's not that low on either
But
chart.
if you're looking at that like that, that tells me you're not following the actual story. That also tells me you're the same people who like High School DxD. And one of the most iconic scenes from High School DxD is the only iconic scene that gets wrapped around Twitter and Instagram for so long because it's that iconic. But it's
I
also
mean,
one of those
look at something like Konosuba.
fair,
That's
but
getting
not-
away with so
Bro.
much.
The
But it's also-
first and second spot for an entire season.
True, but also
And their storyline was subpar. Let's be real.
also true. But that in that case, I'm kind of like you can have a subpar story if you keep the characters interesting, and that's the thing. The characters stayed interesting throughout. And here's the other
kind of.
That's
It was
the other
nothing
thing.
like their first season.
No, it wasn't. No, well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. But I also think if you look at that point, we watched the Only Adventure, me and Chris did, and I said to Chris, they're going back to having the old style where all the characters are very busty. And also, I told Chris while watching it, do you notice some of the, and I think I said it in the last episode we watched, not this current one, the prior one. Like, do you notice how they're doing certain things with him as a character? He just doesn't care what's going on, but he also sees it happening and he just kind of just takes it for as it is. But yet he's like, "Oh, you don't need help? Okay, cool." And it's just like they puff by it, and it's funny because one of the characters he gets help from in this like guild thing he's working with that trained him. One of the characters is straight up like he like oogles women, and you legitimately see that throughout one of the episodes. And the maid girl like pulls the other girl away, like he's not great. That's a trope that's been around forever, but it's a trope that's kind of sad because it doesn't really always work. And it's always over the top. And I think that's the other thing too. You're doing a lot of those tropes again, which I don't really want to see. I don't know what you do. Because if you're gonna do a lot more fan servicey things in anime, you're gonna have to balance out with story. If you don't do fan service things but you have a good story, people don't want to stay with it. So pick your poison.
jobless.
Yeah, well, that's also fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah,
Spit this poison.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, we don't know what this season's gonna bring, but I will say this before we get into Dungeon People. I think this is gonna be one of those divisive things down the road. You can't please everybody. You can't please people who want action. You can't please people who want story. You can't please people who just want something fun to just turn off their brain with and enjoy.
Unless you're solo lovely. I mean,
Like, yeah, there's that. There's that. Because even the one I thought would be higher, My Hero's low on this list, but My Hero's also been pretty kind of mid. Sad to say for somebody who likes My Hero, but it has been pretty mid. We don't. I think it's going to be eventually 10 years down the road, or 5 years down the road. I think anime is going to be in a whole different place where it's going to be a lot more of the Wild Wild West. Because then a lot of the companies are going to be like, okay, we'll just do this or try this and do this, and then it's going to be every site's going to have their niche. That's why High Dive does so well right now, because High Dive have some of the strongest shows, but they're also the best storytelling for the most part. Yeah. Yeah. But let's get into episode 3 of Dungeon People. In a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. This episode actually builds off the last episode in a very interesting way, and it does it a really, really fun way. And then we kind of get what we're heading into next. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Let's go.
yeah.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go. The Ice Wolf Fangs. He was mad.
Yeah, but he's telling her the truth though.
Yeah, he was on truth. Still like this song though. One of the best songs so far.
It is fun. I don't know if it's one of the best.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll give you that.
Eh,
It gives me like anime Grease.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. That's very true. It's funny. It's, listening to it now, you said anime Grease. It gives me that like you say, like that play style to it.
Yeah, like hairspray or something.
Uh-huh. She's like, "Why do you use my full name?" I love the fact they explain this so well, showing how she can see all that.
Well, I mean, you would think a dungeon admin would be looking at everything, or at least as much as they can.
Much they can. Oh, that's why it's called the S Thing episode. They wanted her to join that guild, that group.
That's not what I was expecting. Just put her in the skeleton body.
Yep. I love the fact too that the whole conversation he's talking in like modern like in the mind dialogue while what's her name's talking to the guy skeleton dude.
Right, and she really didn't hear anything they was saying.
Nope, she didn't understand him.
Yep.
Basically, the skeleton soul's going to go into your body.
That's kind of not fair. She don't get none of her gear and equipment. Her
Nope.
really cool knives.
Well, she also can't move the way she normally could either.
Yeah, she got to get used to a whole new, I guess, body, if you want to call it that.
Form, yeah, form, but yeah.
Not all the monsters gossiping about her around the water.
Yep.
That was creepy.
That was very creepy.
But extremely deep and a reasonable question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that skill. She can't do that in the dang on. Look at that skill. She can't do that in the dang on skeleton body.
Oh, she. I did not know she did that to them.
Yes, sir.
Oh, she a murderer anyway. She cold blooded. I like her.
So wait, 2 fighters, a thief, a priest, and a healer?
Yep.
Huh. Interesting team.
And one of the fighters is probably
Just a mage.
Oh, just a mage. Okay, the priest is actually the healer. That's right, because they do
Yeah.
that version.
but one of those fighters looks like a cleric.
He does. He's also.
And the other looks like kind of a tank. So
They have a decently, balanced team.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. We'll see how balanced they are.
Oh, shield bash.
Mm.
Nice. Oh, nice pick up the sword out.
The skill, bro.
Ooh. How she cut through that like a knife through butter?
Extending her mana through her shield.
Mm.
That's what her dad taught her. Use the magic to cut through magic.
Fair enough. It does work.
You don't want the smoke either.
Who would want the smoke if you see what she did to them?
In a body that's not even hers.
Huh? You. I love
You're
that.
right. Yes, you.
Back to the heartbreak.
You're right. No.
All right. Okay.
Wow.
That was Dungeon People episode 3, the Ice Wolf Bangs. Chris, I'm gonna let you do the honors for this. 'Cause you've been doing it all week. Um, however you want to review it, let's get into it.
Okay, so let's just jump it right into it. This whole episode is based around her learning the ins and out of the dungeons. So in doing so, after they clean this filthy room and they put everything in the storage room, I mean, she's trying to give Miss Bell a challenge. I mean, trying to give our main character a challenge, and she's like, "Well, why don't we go down to the seventh floor?" She's like, "Well, we don't even have to go nowhere." So she contacts the one of the floor bosses and says, "Hey, we're going to switch one of your guys with the new person, with the new girl." So they switch the body. She does a little thing, pulls the souls out, and switches them. And then here we are with our main character in the body of a skeleton. Now, as they start walking around the as they start walking around the dungeon, she's kind of getting a feel for the body, asking questions to the dungeon boss, which is also a lich, by the way. So usually when you see a lich, it is a stronger class of skeletons. But so, but then they get to this crucial part, and he's like, "Can you really kill your fellow explorers?" Needless to say, they do a whole flashback. Like, yes, she definitely can. Not only did her dad teach her that, but it was one of the things that she's done for herself, and she's killed other people. So smooth sailing from there. I'm gonna pause here.
Deon, what do you think about that first part? Because that first part was really interesting in how they handled that.
I mean, how much more can we love our main character though? Like, I don't know. It just solidifies that she's like this cold character, both mentally and ability wise. Like, she's just dope. So I do like that they kind of, I don't want to say dehumanized her a little bit, but they kind of made her fit in the dungeon a little bit more. Because at first, first come to thought is like, how does this human fare with these on the same side as these monsters? And then it kind of gives them like, well, she kind of had to be in the first place, like on her own. So she ain't really on nobody's side. She's on her own. So I like that.
I have to agree with that too. Like, I love the fact they're kind of giving her the backstory and just giving her the reasons of her why she the way she is. Um, I like the
Other
fact
than that,
she's
that she's actually starting to like her job too.
yes, yeah. You can tell she's starting to like the job, enjoy it more. Um, Chris, go into the second half of this because the second half is actually really fun how they do this.
Right. So in the second half, when so after we get her backstory and everything, she notices a thief or somebody with her perception skills. So obviously she still has some use of her skills. So, but she detected his presence, told him where they were at, where he ran to, and I guess they looks like they got a plan. They went in there to fight him. Now, as they're fighting, this group of, I guess it's said, the Silver Wolf. They looked like a well-balanced team. I think it was like five different people. It looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And so as they start fighting, our main character is describing all the things that's going on around her, and how the fight's going and everything. And then she even tells us how, like, even as a skeleton, she's getting recognized to the body, or she's getting used to the body by this vision. She can see everything that's going on in front of her and behind the character that's fighting her, and even the people that are behind him. So, and she clearly sees that with the plan that they're going to do. So she takes advantage of the plan, knocks the dude out with the shield, pushes both of them down, and then I guess the adventurers think they're going to get a little more serious. They tell the big dude to fall back, and the dude does one big swing, pushes the guy's back, and he jumps back. Next thing you know, their mage is getting ready to fire off a big old fire spell. But even before he can fire it off, she, sees the magic in her body, puts it towards her shield, and when she puts it towards maximum, it literally cuts the fireball in half. So it's like, so then they tell the other guys to retreat. And as they retreat, they feel that they're gonna do one more Hail Mary try, and then the thief dude throws a dagger. Our main character just what do you even call that notion on your head? She moves it cocks it to the side, and it hits the lich in the back of her. And the fact that it did no damage to him, the adventurers are like, oh heck no. And they get on out of there too. Next thing you know, she's back in her body, and and she's talking to the administrator, getting more familiar with the administrator, and they come up with a nickname for the administrator. Her name's Belle. I kind of saw that coming because that after all that long name that they kept embarrassing her with, Belle just seemed like the closest thing. And then at the end, that she's after all this, they're getting to know her. She's like, "Look, you need to do more work."
That was so funny. That was so good. I'll say this: I like the back half of this. The way you used her skills, the way she could figure out things that are going on, the way she thought about her dad and how her dad told her to use the magic to cut through certain things. It works very well, and it kind of gives you the reason how strong she actually is. I really appreciate that, and you can tell that Belle and her are becoming more friends slash coworkers, like boss employee kind of thing, and they're becoming more closer together. Um, Deon, what do you think about this back half of this episode?
Um, it's definitely giving great how do you say like direction? Like I don't know if you really have like directors in anime, but it's the storyline is good, but it's not overwhelming. Like it's not too much story for what it is. Um, it's like it's essentially a slice of life, and you get that aspect from this, but you still get to see dungeon aspects. Like you still get to see people going through the dungeon and things like the monsters actually having to face off with them and stuff, which was something I was worried about in the beginning. Was like, okay, do we just get to see her like standing behind a desk pushing buttons or something? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But my favorite thing about this so far is how they're introducing her backstory of information without making it take away from the actual storyline. Like they'll do like a little flashback, or say I just did this, like how she was uh mentally talking while they were having a full conversation. It didn't take away from the story. It kind of just added to the intriguingness of it. And so far so good.
Chris, thank you by the way for doing that recap. I'm gonna let him keep doing those recaps because he does a really good job kind of explaining this kind of stuff.
Great job, buddy.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm gonna ask you both this. I'll start with Chris for this. What would you give Dungeon People episode 3 for a rating, Chris?
Episode 3 is gonna get a solid 7.8. Now,
Okay.
because I do like the premise of the show. They're doing a lot of things that are different and giving a lot of, and I like it. It's a like I said, for me, I'm starting to get past the way it's drawn. It's a little weirdly drawn for me, but the story definitely takes over. I would like to see what episode 7 or 8 is gonna look like.
Okay. Okay. Um, Before I ask Deon his rating, Get Up Shy episode 16. We'll get into that in a second. But Deon, what would you give Dungeon People episode 3 for a rating?
As much as I like this show, I'm gonna still give it like a 6.8.
Okay, that's fair.
And that's because you're still giving me this. She's going to want to go through the dungeon at some point in time. And I'm not sure if we're actually going to see that. But I would like to see her have more impactful moments with her actually training and learning. I'm a big like character build type of person, like big on them advancing their abilities and skills. And this was supposed to be a training episode. Like, okay, she got a little bit more experience behind there. And for me, she didn't learn anything enough for me, or we didn't get to see. She said she learned something, but that just wasn't a big enough like growth moment for me. I'm interested, like Chris said, 7, 8 to see how it does, but I hope it doesn't take that long to get there.
I will say this. For me, this is like a 7. I would say this is like an 8 for me. So a little higher than Chris. I think it's doing everything well. I think we're slowly getting that build you want for training stuff. This was the first time she's out in the field with other monsters. I think even the guy says, the skeleton guy goes, "Oh, she don't need to be on 4-7. She's way too strong for 4-7."
Yeah,
So
that was a problem for me.
But I think they're showing that she's already strong enough for half the 4, and she's already been up to 4-7 herself. I think that's what they're saying. Like she's already been to certain parts of this area, so she knows what she's doing.
So how do you grow from there if no adventurers have ever made it past this part, but you're too strong for this part? Like,
correct. I think what they're gonna do, I think they're gonna have her train on like 4-8, 4-9, and kind of learn from Belle. But also by the time we get to the end of the series, she'll have that rematch with Belle. But also, there's still the back part of them on the back of the mind of like what happened to her dad. And I think where Chris comes in with this, because Chris has said it once before, I think we started watching this, he said her dad is the thief guild leader. I think that's going to be kind of a thing we see come up now. Ultimately, if it does, not surprising. But I think that's going to be a kind of a play thing, the thing they can play with and go, oh, he's the new thief guild leader.
He just works in the dungeon. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think he works in the dungeon
That
on
too.
the higher levels.
That too. That could be also a thing. But we'll see what goes on. I think it's a fun story. It's a cute story. I like the fact that the characters are all different and how the two characters, main characters interact. They really use the monsters in a fun way. So there's a lot good there. But we'll see how it goes on. I don't want to take, like y'all said, I don't want 7 or 8 to be that point. I want to be like maybe 4 or 5 going into 6. You might get more of that story. But if that's by the time we get to 6, I really want to see where that story ends up.
Yeah.
That's going to be your lynch point for that. But let's get into Shy episode 16. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode, me and Chris, we were so happy with ending up now with this episode. And now, like Chris has said before, we're getting that story stuff for the show. This is the turning point, as they say. But we'll let you get into it. We'll let you see what we see from it. In a second, I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll get going. Gentlemen, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Episode 16, Cloud in the Dark. We did assume this was 9 o'clock, right? This was like Saturday, Chris, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what.
Now, Deon, you said you caught up. Have you seen this episode too?
Yes. Yeah, I watched this one.
Okay.
I just watched it a little earlier today.
Gotcha. Did you notice the scene that I was talking about in season 1 where they mentioned some real facts about religion?
I don't remember it.
I thought you would remember.
I don't think I paid that much attention to it, to be honest.
It does come by pretty fast in the episode, but it is a slower
like episode
part.
8 or something like that.
Yeah, it's episode 8, but it's slow. It's a slow part in that episode where they actually just sit there and take their time
No, it's more like
that.
episode 4 or 5.
Oh yeah, no, it's early. You're right. It's early, 4 or 5, where they do it. And they sit there
5.
and take their time.
I really don't remember it.
Yep.
It's episode 4 or 5. It's got to be like episode 5 because episode 4 is when she like met the unis the leader chick or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lord.
What's the dude, the star dude or whatever? Yeah,
I think it's Starlight or something. I forget the guy's actual like superhero name.
Yeah, he's like a famous person and a superhero at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You see him in this one too. You see him in almost all of them. But like half of season 1 is like just introducing characters.
Which makes me think that this show is trying to go for the long haul.
Which is not a bad thing if it does.
I hope not.
I mean, this could go three seasons.
Maybe 4. 3, maybe 4.
Uh-huh.
Maybe 4.
At least if it does the long haul, you're getting more story out of it.
I need her to do more than what she's done in the first episode of season 1. Like you got a whole show named after you, and you're the weakest person in the whole show. But you're not. You just have no confidence in yourself. Sorry, I can harp on her all day.
No,
I
you're
know
good.
y'all like her.
But I think the thing is she's a simple character who's shy, and we've seen characters in other shows have
shy
that. Like,
doesn't mean low self-esteem and coward. Like your inner dialogue is still weak. You're still, I don't know.
It's like you're not shy to be a hero, but you're shy to be being yourself.
Yeah,
That's what I didn't exactly get, but exactly. But at the same time, I do see how it works in this show, though.
I see how it works in the show. Don't get me wrong. But for it to be a long haul show, I need it to work a little bit better. Now, these characters they've introduced here are actually some of the better characters I've seen in the entire anime.
I would agree with that.
The side characters are actually really strong. A lot of the side characters are a lot stronger.
I mean, just their dialogue, their like interactions, like they're having a conversation in the tree right now. Like,
and she even says, "Why are you shirtless?" And they explain he washed his shirt. She's like, "Why you didn't wash your scarf then?" He's like, "The scarf means too much to me."
I will say they freak out a lot in this show, and it's gotten to be a little bit annoying.
What do you mean by freak out?
Like they do that over exaggerating, like, "Oh my god, why is he talking to me?" type of freak out, or they spaz.
Like the facial animations. And,
yeah,
but it's not.
It's like every conversation somebody's doing it, and it's not always shy.
That is true.
For it to be a show about superheroes, that's a little bit. Like, do you know how dope she could be if she just
had a little bit more confidence?
Yeah. Like, just because you shy don't mean you're not confident.
But you can also, I think that's also kind of also explain like people who have ADHD or hyperact, that same kind of tends to, like, you're not good at focusing, so you have to really focus on focusing.
But then call the show Insecure.
Fair.
Yeah, but that name was already taken, so.
I do love this scene. This is probably my favorite scene out of the whole episode, outside the back half. But like one of my fun scenes.
And they all just sitting around.
Nah, it's what he does that would have probably got him cussed out anywhere else.
And he literally drops it. Goes, "Whoop." I'm actually surprised. She's kind of mad about that, but he's like, I don't care about my cigarette getting lost. I don't.
He probably has another one.
Yeah, he does.
And there's a big difference between a Russian who drinks and somebody who just smokes.
Think about that. A Russian person who drinks?
Right. It's a Russian who drinks, not just a person who drinks.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, that is almost the next thing next to water for them.
Yeah.
If it ain't water, it's vodka.
And if it is water, it's probably got vodka in it. Their ice is made out of vodka.
Mm. They found a way to freeze vodka first
They
before
found a
ice.
way to freeze vodka. That's what their scientists are really working on, not missiles and stuff like we think. It's how to freeze vodka. Everything else is just a front. Oh, America build a mission. Oh yeah, we is too. No, keep working on that freeze.
Keep working on their project. Their project.
Oh, huh. So I did call that
Project
wrong.
V.
They said Tokyo in this, but this is not Tokyo Tower like I thought it was.
Did they say what tower it was?
They never said what tower it
I'm
was.
gonna say
I thought it was Tokyo Tower they were standing on, but it's not. I love you have an angel and a demon, and you have somebody with a sword. That it's just like okay, what is it?
it's the other her.
Turn everything into nothing. I'm gonna say something, Chris, and you're probably gonna laugh when I say it. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Shibuya, isn't it? Where they put the giant spear around Shibuya.
Yep. That was my first thought. I was like, don't this kind of remind me of JJK?
The
And
Shibuya
nobody can
incident.
walk in or out of the thing.
Except that desecrated Shibuya.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, this one, everybody's still intact. They're just stuck in there. But he's right. There we go. By the way, the guy with the star on his chest, he looked like Captain Commando.
You know what? I had not thought of that.
He looked
Wow.
like Captain Commando. That's what I thought. The first thing I thought about. Like what?
Looks like they one of those Marvel characters too.
Oh, Sentry has like Marvel or Capcom like vibes to him too.
They all give me Street Fighter vibes.
Yeah, they have Street Fighter character vibes to him. Yeah, that's what they kind of did with the character.
Like the Russian looks like a female bison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
female.
Now, see, I do like how in this episode they give her, who's supposed to be shy, they give her this role where she has to stand out in some form or fashion.
Correct. So it ends up fighting back the shyness of her
Yep.
not trying to not being in that spotlight.
I didn't like how she handled it though.
True.
I'm just not a big fan of whiny main characters. That's just a personal taste.
When you say whining, what do you mean?
This.
Mm. It's funny. I don't think she's whining. I think she's more scared.
Nah.
But
She's
as a
never done.
hero, that is whiny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's actually right. That's right.
Like, what if you saw Iron Man acting this way?
I'd be a little bit worried.
Right.
I'd be a little bit worried.
Like I really like this character. Like they balance each other out so well. But most characters have that okay snap to it moment. Shy never does. Like even
No,
when
she does. She does.
but even when she like is like, okay, I gotta do it. It's more of a I gotta push through this. Let me. Oh my god, I don't know if I still gotta do it though. Like it's not a confidence boost. It's I'm doing it because I have to.
Hold that thought because you just mentioned this conversation. We come back to this conversation because we get the conversation at the end. So I think it verifies that. It verifies something you said, but it also verifies something else.
Yeah.
And actually, this is the other character that balanced her out because she's more strong.
Yeah. But like after this, we go through like 5 more minutes of this episode when I feel like they just drug it out. Because these two conversations could have happened already. Like this is the coldest I ever seen her.
But that was a real question that he asked, though.
Mm-hmm. But like this
But
is
here's the
the
thing.
shy I would like to see.
But she's prioritizing people over herself, which is the reverse of what normally would happen anyway.
But that's
Right.
what Deon was saying. Yeah.
Like this is her saying, I'm a hero. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Like this is her mannerism is still shy, but what she's saying and doing is still strong. Like I like that. Everything else she does.
But that line also by the Russian hero gives it away. The last month, so this first season, she's grown so much since that point.
Yeah. But this, like, what?
I love this. I love this little talk about this, and then it's like, there we go. There we go. There's the answer.
Like, you really thought she snuck to space?
Huh? Yeah, there's no way you can state the space. If there was, I mean, hey. Man, that plate
And
is
like
nice.
nobody's gonna say anything about how cold she just got from the episode before.
Yeah, I like the fact they're giving her this like dialogue here because it makes her
But I mean,
feel.
she still gets winded when she fights, though. So
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. She does. Well, we'll let's hope she doesn't right now. But like, look how cold and confident she is as a shinobi warrior. But like how scary and timid she was when we first met.
that's the one thing we haven't learned about our character. What exactly in her past makes a person shy?
Yeah, especially this shot.
It actually could be a multitude of things, but we haven't, like you said, we haven't got that answer, and I don't think we will. I don't think we
We
will.
don't know anything about her.
We
Well, we
know
do.
more about the side character.
Yeah, we don't know
That's
anything.
true. That's true. That's true.
We know she used to visit a corner store when she was little. That's probably
And then her older
I
her older
remember.
sister too.
Like like this was drawn out.
But I actually like this scene. I enjoy why she did this.
But she talked to everybody except for the Russians. She talked to everybody already.
Yes.
Why
She
not
didn't
just
talk,
ask them then?
but she
You
didn't
really
talk.
needed
Oh yeah, she did talk to the healer medicine lady. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah,
The Swedish healer. Yeah, that's right. She did talk to everybody. You could have done
And
it
they
that way.
basically told her straight up, I'll be on your team. Like see this yep,
yeah,
exactly.
the character that makes sense right now.
Yeah. I like her. My favorite character.
But her answer. There we go. There we go.
That's pretty much Deon's personification in this show.
Yeah. There you go. Carry that confidence with you. Although you lose it in like 0.25 seconds. And
All right. That was Shy episode 16. Cloud
Oh,
in
look, it's actually 10:16. Look at that.
the Yeah, fair enough. Uh I'll make this pretty easy. I'll do this in two parts, two big parts, because it's actually the first half. This is a kind of basically a lot of like setup things. We find out the girl with the other sword, the evil side to our shinobi, is saying the world is nothing. There's nothing in this world for anybody. But ultimately, um, she kind of when she says that she still was on top of the tower. But then we cut to Shy getting out of bed because the shinobi girl wakes her up. They kind of hang out. They're making race balls. They're gonna go to this pond to skip rocks. Shinobi girl pretty much throws these rocks so easily. She can put 3 rocks to a tree, no problem. Then we find out from the dark side girl that she just wants to make this world a pain. So she takes out the sword, hits the ground, and makes this giant circle to encapsulate Tokyo. And then we also see the other heroes: Russian hero, American hero, British hero. They're all talking, kind of having a conversation what the American hero wants to do next, what we should do about uh, Sigma, all this kind of stuff. Ultimately, out of this scene, the big thing out of this scene is where he takes the cigarette, takes the bottle, pretty much says, "Stop doing it. Y'all don't need to." Um, and other big thing from this is like um why are you continuing, why are you continue these bad habits? So Russian girl tries to get the bottle back, doesn't really work. She takes he takes the cigarette, puts the cigarette in the bottle, and basically just doesn't let her drink that anymore. She's kind of phased, but the British hero's kind of like, fine, doesn't really care. And then we kind of get to where we're getting to the base and kind of getting our stuff talked through. Chris, what do you think about this first half? This first half was actually pretty interesting.
It was interesting, bro. Like I like how they kind of like they really tried to pick up where they left off at. It was really kind of cool, and it made the story flow. Like seeing them. How can I say this? Like I guess this part of it was the slice of life that kind of slowed things down before things got real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like this was the calm before the storm.
Okay. Okay. Um, when you say slice of life, what you mean?
Like they're kind of showing like if when you kind of look at this in the past episode or so, all of this was kind of like a slice of life. Like they kind of showed the life of the shinobi versus her living with them and cooking. Like all that was just like standard slice of life.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. I can see that. I will say, too, this really ties into everything very well. Um, I can't be surprised about how they're handling it. I think they're handling it very well with slice life stuff. I don't think it's overly too much, but ultimately, it's kind of like they don't know where they kind of have to figure out where they're headed for it. Um, but let's get to this back half. This back half is kind of interesting because the back half of this is more where your storyline comes into play. I think with the back half, it's you see more that Shy has to take the leadership role. They're all together. You have Century Hero being the leader for the rescue team. Shy's going to be the leader for the infiltration team. Shy doesn't really want the role. Shy's kind of figuring out, what do I do? She's kind of like, I don't really need it, but I'll do my best. And Century takes over all these other, Century takes these people to get some more information. Shy kind of goes off, doesn't know what she needs to do. She asks the Swedish hero. The Swedish hero is kind of like, do what you have to do. You don't have to be this coward, kind of just like telling her what she needs to hear. But in the up, we see the shinobi and her best friend get on the ship. They get on the ship because Shrimp helps them get on the ship. Shinobi's like, I'm doing this for you, helping others. I'm gonna do what I have to do to help the people. I don't want to see this mess happen the way it happened. But then in the end, Shy ends up talking to the Swedish hero, the Chinese hero, and our shinobi. And then she has them all come. She goes back to Century and goes, I have one request. If I end up not making it out, rescue the people. I do not care about anything else. Rescue the people. And he says, I have one request for you. My one request is you come back alive, no matter what. So then that's the balancing out to this. So he kind of builds her confidence. In the end, we have this kind of drawn out little scene where you have everybody come in, the Chinese hero, Swedish hero, Russian hero, and everybody come together. And Shy kind of talks to each one of them and gives them the confidence and everything to help her. They're all willing to help her. The Swedish hero is the most funny because she's like, you should have asked me first, all this other stuff. And ultimately, in the end, she goes, but you're a leader. You're the leader. I'm going to follow you. Do whatever it takes to do this. So you got this. And then they open the portal and they walk out. Deon, what do you think about the first half and second half of this? Like, what do you think about the show as a whole? Or Chris, you can think and talk about the second half.
Okay, so seeing her in this second half was really trying to see her come into her like this is her personal battle. Like I understand where Deon is coming from when he was talking about how the character is shy and everything, but I also think that that's the kind of the beauty of the show. Like trying like me, I'm kind of an indoorsy. I wouldn't say I'm insecure, but I can definitely be shy about some things. However, it's like when you have to step up to that role, you have to know when, where, and how. And for me, sometimes thinking about all those things is the one thing that gets me like that way. So I kind of feel where the character is at. However, when you have like you said, the Swedish hero who is kind of like Deon to me, it's like, nigga, shut up, stop being a bitch.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So yeah,
And yeah, you're right. You're right. Deon, what's your whole thoughts about this? Or did Chris answer those thoughts for you?
I mean it's just the way that they show the character's growth and how she handles things. I mean, she's still scared to kind of speak her mind the way she needs to, but the one thing that we're waiting to see is her coming to like that self confidence.
Yeah.
Like us, so at that point, once she actually has that self confidence, I don't think you can no longer call the show or her shy.
No, but I don't know what else would you call it after that. Because like she's been called shy, so I don't know how much you can really say she hasn't been shy. But that's up to the person anyway. Like I think that she'll grow in confidence by the maybe fifth or sixth episode, and she'll really have that not to be shy anymore. We'll see. Um, but it kind of takes that time period to see how much she has grown. Like even the Russian hero said, she's grown by the last month. That growth has been overly, strong. She's grown the last month. She's gotten better at it. Now, what she's going to fully do from this point on.
But at the same
Um,
time, we remember from the last season, we
mhm.
remember on the last season how Shy ends up being the hero, quote unquote, for the Russian hero.
Yes, yes, we do. We do. So we do see that as well. Um, we don't. I think that's going to be the thing. Like I think she'll gain the trust of the other heroes, and that's going to really make her blossom as much. Um, but that's going to be, I think, the down the road thing as well. How much she blossoms from that situation.
Exactly. So we're really waiting to see the type of character growth that can come out.
Mm-hmm. So Dion, as we were talking through this stuff and as you're kind of fixing things, what do you think about the show as a whole? The episode.
um, it's it's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad as a whole. I have my gripes and things, but I have my gripes and things about every single anime I watch. Like even the ones I actually really really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I I think I would like the next episode better than I like this one because I
Okay.
feel like this episode was pretty like dragged out. Like this was a 2 minute part of an episode. The next episode, like this was a warm up episode, so I feel like they did good with what it was, getting her pumped and amped and ready to go. Introducing the teams together, I felt like that was cool. The only thing that I was like they could have just left out was the format of how she got her team started. When she like asked them all, I felt like everything needed to happen. I just don't feel like it all needed to happen in that order. You know,
Okay.
like
Okay.
I felt like she could have asked them to join her team. Like the first conversations were kind of pointless, basically, to me with her team members. I felt like they all could have kind of been said at the same time. Like I know they wanted that big hurrah, and then she go and ask them to be on her team, but it felt a little forced. Like you trying to stretch time out or something.
Okay. So what would you rate episode 16 of Shy for a rating?
For this anime, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay. Okay.
For Shy. I'm going to give it a 7.
All right, that's fair.
For
That is fair.
my personal taste in anime, I'm gonna give it a 3. But we
Well, yeah,
we
yeah.
not gonna go there.
Yeah, 7's fair. Chris, what about yourself? What would you rate episode 16 of Shy?
Now, see, I'm personally a little bit on the fence because I can't exactly say that I was expecting. I like, okay, I'm glad that they gave me a piece of the story and where it's going, but I still expected more from not necessarily their main character, but from the show itself.
From the show. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Did it feel like just a leading moment into something? It never really felt like an actual episode.
like I put it this way, for all of my musicians out there, you know how it is when you hold the 7.
Mm.
That's how this episode felt. And I guess you could say it's kind of like a dry suspense.
Yeah, it's that minor note.
Okay.
You can't end like this. You can't. You gotta go into something else.
So I'm
And it's
going to
gotta be
give
big.
this. So I'm going to give this episode a 6.8.
Okay. So 2 under where Deon was at 7.
Only reason why I gave it a 7 instead of lower is because I do really like where is she from? Welsh or something? What is she?
Oh,
The medical one?
She's from Sweden.
Sweden. I do really like how she basically just slapped her and was like, "Get your stuff together."
Yeah.
You hold my life in your hands, bro. Like
she's the
quit getting the punt. Like Chris said, I ain't gonna repeat what Chris said, but like he said,
yeah, fair. I would have to give this like, it's weird because I have to give this like a 7.5. I agree with all y'all points. I do. I think the thing is, we've talked about this before with Dead Mount Death Play, with a couple other years, where the episode prior or the episode going into something. So like the current episode and the episode going into something, the next episode's where it's going to get a lot of that action and storytelling now. So they're building into it, which is fine. I don't think it's bad. I think your side characters are really strong in this. That's the other reason like this show works very well. Your Shinobi works, the Russian hero works, Swedish hero works, all your heroes work, and your main 2 characters, her best friend and Shy herself, aren't as strong, but aren't as like the main focus.
Tough.
Shy's tough, and
I just don't know it.
She don't know yet. She's trying to get to it. I get that. So I think it's gonna work. I just think it's a slower burn, and I think that slower burn is kind of like something people can't always get into. But I think it's gonna work in this next episode where she has to do something that's gonna break her out of that comfort zone a lot.
You know what my problem is with this? I feel like this would be good if it was season 1. It doesn't feel like season 2 content.
Well, I take it. I consider it part of season 1 only because it feels like a continuation.
It's a continuation.
It is supposed to be a continuation, which is why they continue with the episode. But the shift in the story makes it feel like it's a season 2 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the characters is given second episode, and that's what I mean, and not necessarily season 2, but this far down, and even if it is just a continuation of season 1, this far down, it feels like this is the 3rd episode of the season in general.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, keeping the same number stuff. If this was like a season 2 proper, I think it wouldn't hit as well, because I think the continuation would be kind of weird, would not work as well. But with it being the continuation of just a season 1, but like it's a second season, but still core 1, it works a little bit better to understand. Like, okay, here's where we're headed.
Yeah, it definitely works better than being like constant season 2.
We will see what comes up next with Shy. Shy goes in episode 17. We're also getting Done to People episode 4. That'll be episode 66 of the Anime Dojo. We'll be back next week for that. By the way, we have 2 weeks, and I'm going to put this out there now. 2 weeks from this week, we're going to be at Anime Surrey. The week after that Tuesday, we come back, we're going to be doing that episode. So we're gonna have 2 weeks of normal episodes, and then that week we're gonna be doing the review of Animate Series and all that kind of stuff. So look forward to that. I'll kind of keep mentioning that as well. But I do thank you for watching. Hope you did enjoy, and hope you for next time. See ya.
Peace.
Deuce.